if these lights still work. Good. This still works. Jesus! Fuck. Well, these kids use this. Solomon Grundy extra.
Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday.
Was that better than I expected? I think I got him back in February. Excellent. Never would have expected Pyramid Head to have been defeated so easily. Who the fuck are you? I am here for that key. Are you the reason the Keyblade's been acting weird lately? In a manner of speaking. You still don't know, despite owning the Keyblade for over a year. You truly are a naive fool. Fuck off, you Klansman reject! I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you until the end of Silent Hill 3 to figure it out. Joke's on you, I was going to review that game anyway. So when I'm done with reviewing that game, it's you and me, cockhole. So don't get comfortable. So Silent Hill 2 was a smash hit. To this day, it's still considered one of the greatest games of all time. So how does Konami follow it up? With a game that continues the story from the first game. Silent Hill 3 picks up 17 years after the end of the first game and has the player take control of a teenage girl named Heather Morris. Heather wakes up in a restaurant at the food court of a mall. Not long after, she's met by a private investigator named Douglas who claims to know about Heather's past. Heather ignores him and starts making her way home, but that's when the dark world starts to overtake the place, meaning that Heather now has monsters to deal with. And it's not just Douglas that Heather meets up with, but also a woman named Claudia who keeps spewing about how Heather will take them to the Promised Land or some shit like that. And then, cue the other world. Not that one. But yeah, we're back to this version of the other world, where everything is dark, rusted, industrial, and decayed.
Forget it. This is way too gross. Who would even think of doing something so disgusting?
Heather does eventually make it home, only to find her father has been murdered. That Claudia lady is nearby, and now we have a boss fight. Heather is quick to blame Douglas, who shows up sometime later, but he admits that he had nothing to do with it. Something we, the players, already guessed. Douglas fills her in that Claudia was the one who hired him to find Heather and take her to Silent Hill, so Heather decides to go with him if only to get back at Claudia. We are now at the halfway point of the game. Was that really necessary? Fuck off and die. Now this is more like it. Not long after arriving in the town, Heather meets a man named Leonard at the local hospital who was Claudia's father. Heather has to fight him though, and when he attacks her after learning that she isn't part of the cult of Samael. Not long after that, she meets this guy. This is Vincent, one of the few friendly people in the game, and he also drops one of the biggest bombshells of the series.
You're the worst person in this room. You come here and enjoy spilling their blood. And listening to them cry out. You feel excited when you step on them and snuff out their lives.
Are you talking about the monsters?
Monsters? They look like monsters to you?
Vincent directs Heather to go to the church in the nearby amusement park, but he doesn't go with her. Douglas went ahead, and when Heather meets up with him, she finds him wounded by Claudia. Speaking of that bitch, Heather heads into the nearby church just in time to see Claudia kill Vincent.
Oh, you backstabbing cockbite.
And then this happens. The anger and hatred that Heather feels towards Claudia is enough for her to start going through the process of birthing yet another demon god. Thanks to an amulet that Heather has, the god's unborn fetus is expelled via vomit.
Ooh, nasty.
Desperate to see the cult's new god born, Claudia consumes the fetus.
Oh, that's nasty.
And then she transforms into...
What the f*** is that?
But since Heather has to, because we're the ones playing the game, she defeats it, makes it back to Douglas, deciding that she's now going to be called Cheryl. Gameplay-wise, it's the same as the first two, but unlike the previous game, this one goes back to the visceral horror aspect that the first game occasionally had, while still mixing in the psychological horror. While the last game had themes of guilt and sexual repression, this game goes for a theme of teenage pregnancy, something that a lot of young people are afraid of and worry about. From the start of the game, Heather is pregnant with the fetus of the cult's god, and she later has a pseudo-abortion where she vomits up its fetus, and many of the monsters are designed with some sort of sexual symbolism in mind. Okay, maybe not all of them. I doubt these bladed bug things have any kind of sexual meaning behind them, but the other monsters, definitely. The first monster we see is this big-armed thing with a flaccid dick for a head, and the first time we see it, it's hovering over a corpse in a very domineering manner. There are these fat fucks that are indicative of the normal view of perverts being fat bastards.
He's fat!
These dogs attack Heather by biting at her abdomen right around the area where a woman's uterus is located. We have oversized penises with legs. The nurses from Silent Hill 2 make a comeback. When Heather dies, she gets carried off by something in a very subjective manner. And then there's this fellow named Valtiel. He doesn't do anything, just hangs out in the background, but he's usually placed in a rather provocative position, perhaps most infamously this latter sequence where he gets a clear upshirt shot.
Okay, I get that this game was made in Japan and their laws for the age of consent are a bit different than they are here in America, but this game was strictly made for Americans. They do know that by our laws, Heather is still considered a minor, right?
Stupid! You're so stupid!
But I get it. Heather, at 17, is in the later stages of puberty, which is a very stressful and experimental time for young people. But at the same time, this idea of having another human being growing inside you, especially at that age, it can be terrifying. Now, of course, a lot of this is assumption on my part, since obviously I don't have any women parts. But setting that aside, would you believe that one of the scariest parts of this game has nothing to do with the thematic elements?
Nope, it's this room. It looks rather innocuous, but then this happens. As for the puzzles, they're back with a vengeance. The first one you encounter is barely a half hour into the game and practically requires you to have an extensive knowledge of Shakespeare. Most of the puzzles after that, you need to bust out a calculator for. Like this one, where you have to figure out the combination to a padlock by doing all sorts of multiplication and division just to get a 4-digit number.
For the last fucking time, nobody said there'd be math! I blame our schools!
At the start of the game, if you put in the Konami code, you get access to every weapon in the game, including an automatic rifle with unlimited ammo but shit aim, a fucking lightsaber, and you also get access to every costume in the game. Heather has a variety of shirts to wear, and she even has a fucking Sailor Moon outfit complete with the transformation.
Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight, never running from a real fight. She is the one named Sailor Moon. She will never turn her back on a friend. She is always there to defend. She is the one on whom we can depend. She is the one named.
And for whatever reason, it amps up the awkwardness of the situation by having Douglas walk around in nothing but his trench coat and shorts. I realize that I barely brought attention to these games' soundtracks. The soundtracks were composed by Japanese guitarist Akira Yamaoka, and just an idea of how creative this guy is, he managed to incorporate things like steel and fucking dentist drills into the soundtrack. Want a good idea? You'd think a song as innocently named as My Heaven would sound like Dearly Beloved from Kingdom Hearts, right? But instead, it sounds like this. The main theme of the series that plays in the first game and the ending theme for each game are also really good, and the series is peppered with vocal tracks performed by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Give them a listen, I think you'll find them enjoyable.
Have you figured it out yet? Actually, I believe this is the part where you start monologuing. As you wish. Much like the code of Samael, we desire to be closer to our God. I was fucking kidding! The problem was, we didn't know how to do it. Till we found that key, and that gave us an idea. Our God required a sacrifice, and so we chose someone to transplant their soul into that key. A boy, Joseph Farley. He struggled, yes, but in the end, the knife pierced his heart, and his soul entered that key. But one of our members, he disagreed with our methods. He took the key and slew all but 12 of our followers. Hang on, all but 12? Myself, one other, and the 10 masters. After that incident, we lost the key. I can only imagine that it found its way to the hands of a man who sold it to you for $40 at a fan convention last year. Now, the key, if you please. Wait, hold on, back up a minute. You said you found the Keyblade, right? So you really don't know anything about it, do you? It is the vessel of the soul sacrifice to bring us to the kingdom of God. You are a goddamn idiot. Let me give you a little lesson. Long ago, there was one true Keyblade called, well, the Keyblade. Original. The true Keyblade was lost. But others like this one were made in its image. What really happened was that the Keyblade was a union of light and darkness. During the battle, it was separated into two halves. This one, this is the Keyblade of light. I have no idea where the Keyblade of darkness is. At some point, the Keyblade was shattered into 20 pieces. 7 of light, 13 of darkness. And you, fuckhead Fred, sound like you were one of those 13 pieces of darkness. And if not you, then the entirety of your cult. And this kid, Joseph, you said his name was? Clearly, he's not very happy with you. So, let's ask Joseph Varley, now bonded with the Keyblade of Light, what we should do with you.
Kill him!
Sounds good to me. Wait! Wait, he says. Do I look like a fucking waiter? Well, Joe, maybe that'll help you rest a little better.
I know you're a special one. Something crazy where I see love. You fall so low, but so high. Big dreamer, shoot for open sky.